Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narada Krishna Prabhu, what was the conclusion about that? I saw less than 10 hands go up for people who wanted Kannada translation.
Seems like they want to see as much as they want to.
Yeah, but should we cater to what they want or what's best for them? Yeah, so why don't you take them outside? I'll speak slowly. If I'm going too fast, if I get excited, send word inside and I'll slow down again, okay? Oh, you have to say that in Canada. Kshama kiziye. How do you say that in Canada? Kshama. Shamisi. Shamisi. Kshamyatam. In Sanskritam. Thank you for coming here this evening to hear from me, or was it to see me? Well, I'm not going to thank you if you come to see me, but if you'd like to hear me, that would be very nice, because that's what I'm supposed to do, is to speak in a manner that others may hear and be benefited. I'm not a fashion model, as I was saying. Of course, it's nice to see. Nice to see me, we say that. Nice to see you. We don't mean it, but in English it's a saying. Nice to see you. But yes, it's nice to see someone who has a connection with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada very kindly accepted me. So, nice to see me, but just as there are so many photographs of Srila Prabhupada, but we can better benefit by hearing from Srila Prabhupada than simply sticking his picture on the wall. As Srila Prabhupada often said, one shouldn't keep a guru as a pet dog. That was the way Srila Prabhupada spoke. So like that, many people, they like to keep a picture of a god or a sadhu on the wall and wave some incense. And that's it. So thank you, you've all come to hear me. One of the chapters in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita is mentioned, it's called Just Hear Me. Srila Prabhupada was telling his early followers, just hear me. Because actually hearing is one of the most difficult things to do, to hear the message of Bhagavad Gita. Not everyone can hear it. Arjuna could hear it. Not everyone can hear it. Many hear, but not everyone hears. We have in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the beginning of Shukdev Goswami's instructions, he speaks about Pashyan api na pashyati. They see but they do not see. He is referring to those who see people dying. Ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti yamalayam. Every day so many people are taking a trip to Yamaloka. Everyone sees that, but they don't see. They see, but they don't see in the way that they should see. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Everyone sees birth, death, old age and disease, but one who sees anudarshanam, through the agency of the parampara, they can actually see. Otherwise, they just see, oh, someone else died, it's time to call the company for the loudspeakers and put on some music. That's what it means. And then we have to follow some rituals which shows which caste we're in, and That's what it means. But the one who sees through the parampara sees, that's me tomorrow. So I should find out what happens after death. Etat jnanam. This is knowledge, Krishna says. So not everyone can see, not everyone can hear. Even Bhagavad Gita is spoken, and many people superficially hear. Most of those who hear, they don't hear. Krishna says, aham. Now when someone says, I am going to the station tomorrow, then it's understood it refers to the person who is speaking. But most, due to mispropaganda, people when they hear Krishna says, aham sarvasya prabhavaha, I am the source of everything, people read it saying, aham, I. They take it to mean themselves. They take themselves to be supreme, which is a complete distortion of Bhagavad Gita. So to hear spiritual knowledge is very difficult for most people. Most people are not accustomed, they don't have the training, and they find it unpalatable, or they think it's something which is very much against their self-interest, because they don't know who they are, because they haven't heard, and they can't hear because they don't want to hear, due to contaminated consciousness. So to hear means, first of all, to remove ahankar, which is the covering, which stops us from hearing. Therefore, sadhus, they have to speak in such a way that cuts through the ahankar. But materialistic people have made a very clever excuse to stop hearing from sadhus, by saying that those who are sadhus, they should make you feel good and feel nice. So a sadhu is someone who increases my ahankar. And someone who speaks to cut through the ahankar, they cannot be a sadhu. A sadhu, he should just be nice and smile. So a sadhu who speaks as what people should hear, generally they won't get many people to hear them. Because most people don't like to hear. Or they will like to hear what they like to hear. And they think someone who says what I like to hear, that is a good sadhu. In other words, they're dictating. Indirectly they're dictating to the sadhu. You speak what I want to hear. Then I will praise you and bow down to you and call you a great sadhu, and you'll be happy. You'll get your name and fame and glory, and I'll give you some dakshina also. And I'll feel happy, and no one makes any spiritual advancement. And one who collects many followers, they're considered a great sadhu. All cheating, cheaters and the cheated. Fortunately, Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jiva, I and all those that Srila Prabhupada took in his shelter, we were fortunate enough to come to his shelter. Very fortunate, seeing as the whole world of religion is strewn with cheaters. So we're very grateful that Srila Prabhupada spoke Bhagavad Gita as it is. Just as Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Krishna didn't say to Arjuna, well Arjuna, what would you like to hear? We have a little time before the fight. Let me just tell you a few stories, and you can have a few chuckles. Arjuna is very serious. Krishna didn't speak Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna before that. Before that, of course Arjuna is a pure devotee, but the situation hadn't arisen where Arjuna was very serious to hear about the nature of reality. Actually, at the beginning he wasn't even asking about that. He was just asking, look, should I fight or not fight? I don't know. You tell me. Krishna said, I'm not just going to tell you, I'm going to tell you why. Arjuna, he just wanted a guru. I can't decide, you decide. You tell me. I can't work it out. You just tell me and I'll follow. But Krishna didn't want to be that kind of guru to Arjuna. You understand why and then you make your decision. This is how Krishna trained Arjuna. So, if someone can actually hear spiritual knowledge, that is the way in which they can see, pashyanapi na pashyati, those who do, apashyatam atma tattvam, they don't see atma tattva because they want to see superficially. So I'm attempting here to speak in a non-superficial manner in the hope that some may hear. In some ways it may be more difficult for you to hear because there are so many sadhus coming. The Krishna Prabhu was saying that. Oh, he just said that there are many sadhus have come. Of course you're all sadhus who's chanting Hare Krishna as a sadhu. Many have come in this month. He just said, in some ways that may make it more difficult to hear. Because the actual hearing means to hear. Cell phones off, please. So, hearing means to hear with faith and trust. Faith means trust, it's almost a synonym. And be ready to accept what is said, but there may be a problem or a difficulty created in many sadhus coming because that is the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Everyone is a person. Everyone has their own personal insight or outlook. From inside comes outlook. First look inside. Try to understand what's inside. Then you can have an outlook. And various sadhus who are all followers of the parampara, Vaishnava parampara, they have different approaches in Krishna consciousness and may express Krishna consciousness, their understandings in various ways. And unless one is very expert in accepting the essence of Krishna consciousness, which expertise may not generally come in the beginning of one's spiritual life, then one may see that, so many people are presenting in different ways, so I can't take any of them seriously because they're all saying different things. Or I'll just take a little bit of what I like here and a little bit of what I like there, and in this way make my own recipe for Krishna consciousness, which is not the way to accept Krishna consciousness. So in some ways it may be more difficult to hear when there are many voices and apparently not speaking exactly the same thing. But actually we can enter into Krishna consciousness by finding that essence, which is very simply surrender to Krishna, acting for Krishna's pleasure, understanding our position as his servant. That is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. And if we pursue that, if we're serious to pursue that, then Krishna, who is within our heart, will give us the intelligence by which we can hear that which we require to hear for our purification. The subject of tonight's lecture, the given subject, actually I think it was announced as questions about Bhakti and Saraswati, but I wanted to speak, somehow it got mixed up. I'll do tomorrow morning, Krishna willing, I'll speak on that. And this evening I wanted to speak on misconceptions about Harinam. Harinama iva kevalam kalo nastreva gatiranyata. In this age of Kali, there is no other way for spiritual attainment but to chant the names of Hari. The names of Hari, the names of Hari. This subject is what I'm going to speak on tonight what I am speaking on is, it's covered to some extent in this book which came out last year, Sri Bhakti Siddhant Vaibhav. It's one of the misconceptions prominent misconceptions that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur combated. And it's a perennial misconception, means it keeps on coming. Doesn't go away. In every generation it has to be taken up, because the understanding of the holy name is all in all, that it's the only way, that's often misunderstood. To think that, well, you just chant Hare Krishna and that's all there is to it. It's very easy. It is very easy. By Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, spiritual attainment in Kali Yuga is very easy, but it's not so easy that we don't have to surrender to Krishna. They would just chant Hare Krishna and then you don't have to surrender. Now, Srila Prabhupada explained that Krishna demands in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadhaman Padityajya Mamekam Sharanam Rajaham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. Krishna, or he demands, first you surrender to me, then I will deliver you. Surrender to me exclusively, then I will deliver you from material existence. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna, who has come again in this Kali Yuga to deliver the most fallen souls, he doesn't demand that you surrender first. First you chant Hare Krishna. From that everything will come. But that doesn't mean that one doesn't have to surrender. It doesn't mean that the Bhagavad Gita has been thrown out. Rather, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced the chanting of Hare Krishna. One who's actually chanting Hare Krishna is praying to surrender to Krishna. Please, Krishna, energy of Krishna, engage me in your service. So that service means this surrendered service of Krishna. So we may think that, well, you just chant Hare Krishna and you don't have to follow anything else. That's the misconception. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally instructed Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami on the principles of Gauriya Vaishnavism, which were to be made into books. Our sampradaya is known as the Rupanuga sampradaya, not the Chaitanya sampradaya. The mundane scholars call it the Chaitanya sampradaya, but those who are actually members of the sampradaya call it the Gauriya sampradaya or Rupanuga sampradaya, followers of Rupa Goswami, because through Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested his desire in this world. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyang Rupa Kadamahyang Dadati Swapadantikam. We pray to Rupa Goswami, when will Rupa Goswami bestow his mercy on me? He manifested the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave his teachings on how to practice Krishna consciousness. He gave those teachings through Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. And it wasn't, well, just chant Hare Krishna and do whatever you like. There are many rules and regulations to follow which help one come to the pure platform. It's not that one can just chant Hare Krishna in any way, and that in and of itself is perfection. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in describing to Rupa Goswami about the processes of devotional service, he described that the topmost is chanting Harinam. Bhajane madhye shreshta navavidha bhakti. Among all the processes of Krishna consciousness which he had just described, he said the topmost are the 9 processes which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. These 9 processes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Krishna Prem, Krishna Dite Dhare Mahashakti. All these processes are very powerful to award Krishna Prem and to give us Krishna. Tarmadhe Sarva Shreshta. He says Shreshta, the best, are these 9 processes, and among the 9, the best of the best. Tarmadhe Sarva Shreshta Nama Sankirtan. You can all understand. It's a benefit of knowing Indian languages. Nama Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the names of Krishna. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu qualifies that statement, or makes it more clear, or puts it into context. Niraparadhe nama loile pai premadam. The holy name, who is Krishna, gives love of Krishna to the chanter. Which chanter? Niraparadhe, one who chants without offenses. So it's not that just by chanting in any manner that one will get this. It's not that a totally neophyte person who somehow or other chants the name of Krishna, his chanting is on the same level as Srila Prabhupada's, Paramahamsa, Mahabhagavat. One is chanting in pure love, another is chanting maybe out of curiosity or beginning faith. It's not on the same level. So to help us to come to the pure level, there are many rules and regulations to be followed which help to purify the consciousness. Now, from Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav, you can learn how in Bengal, where the chanting of Hare Krishna was very widely spread, and is nowadays also, there was the widespread misconception that you just chant, and you take a guru, and you chant the whole Harinam, Harinama, Eva Kevalam, everyone knows the verse, and you get Guru's mercy, and that's it. You don't have to do anything else. That's all there is. Which is a fact actually, but the Guru's mercy comes in the form of his instruction. The translation of Guru in Amar Kosh, the first definition is given, Shastra Upadeshta, an instructor in the scriptures. But the Sahajiyas of Bengal were under the impression that, well, a guru, a guru is caste phase. Someone is born in a barber's family, they become a barber. Someone is born in a potter's family, they become a potter. And someone's the son of a guru, and he becomes a guru. That's what you have to be a guru. You have to be in a Gosai family. So, and their job is to go from village to village and collect disciples and collect donations, and they have their family lines, and the son... Okay, 4th time. Please turn off your cell phone. I can't do it here because I'm a guest, but in a place where I can act as a despot, I levy a fine. 500 rupees. It works. People think it's a joke, but it's the only way I know is to put a hefty fine. It's the only way I know to get people to turn their cell phone. I give a whole class, please turn off your cell phone, please turn off your cell phone, maybe half an hour, maybe it might work. That's what I was saying, right? It's difficult to hear, where people are very eager to hear. They can't hear, even if you say 3-4 times now, and again it will go. Wait and see. We hope not, but we hope for the best and expect the worst. So yeah, the sahajya idea that the Guru is dispenser of blessings. You chant Hare Krishna and when you feel like it, and then Guru blesses you, and that's it. That's all there is. Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam. That's another Kevalam. Harinama Eva Kevalam, Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam. So you got two. You got Harinam and Guru, and that's it. But then the Guru is supposed to teach you the process by which one can come to the pure stage of chanting. It doesn't happen automatically. Because when we're chanting, or we're actually chanting, as much as we are praying, "O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service." But if we're chanting, "O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please become engaged in my service." If we're thinking, "Krishna will cure my backache, Krishna will solve my problems at work, Krishna will send me to heaven," or why am I getting so many difficulties? Maybe I'll chant more and then Krishna will help. If he doesn't help, then well, there's Ganesh and there's Sai Baba, and we don't have to stick with Krishna. So if we have these kind of attitudes, then we're not really chanting Hare Krishna at all. That's why we have to hear, to understand what actual chanting is. We may be chanting Harinam, we may be saying the names of Krishna, but we don't know who Krishna is because we haven't heard about Krishna. And so we don't actually know who Krishna is, or how we should be chanting, or why we should surrender to Krishna. It takes great faith to surrender to Krishna. It takes it takes full conviction that by doing so, my own self-interest will be served. Everyone has their own self-interest at heart. But if we can have the faith that by subjugating my self-interest to what Krishna wants me to do, that is my actual self-interest, then we can surrender to Krishna. Otherwise we cannot surrender to Krishna. Otherwise we cannot actually chant the holy names in full faith. So hearing has to accompany chanting, which is another major point. And actually I just heard that yesterday on Srila Prabhupada saying the same thing. There's no Shravan no Kirtan without Shravan. Shravan must be there. And hearing means like a blank slate, which doesn't mean that you become mindless, but it means that one has to be prepared to accept the message, which is actually a very difficult message for everyone in this material world to accept, that we are servants of Krishna. It seems like an easy thing to say. It is an easy thing to say, but to actually accept that I am a servant of Krishna, I have no independence. My sense of independence is simply my foolishness. To accept that is very difficult because we're so conditioned by thinking Ishvaraham aham bhogi, I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. So to become a blank slate means to hear without ahankar. The ahankar is like a muffler, or just like if you have many curtains in a room. You maybe don't have this experience much in India because they're not so popular, but in the West it's quite common to have big drapes. You know what that is? Curtains, parda. And if there's carpets, then the sound gets absorbed, and if the clarity of sound won't be there. So this ahankar is like a big cloud on our consciousness by which the sound enters, and we tend to hear what we want to hear. So that even if the message comes, surrender to Krishna, and then that gets reorganized in our thinking process, so that we redefine surrender to Krishna as being something completely different. The Mayavadis, they make it completely different, completely change it. And as much as we are resisting surrender to Krishna, that much we will water it down, or some excuse, later I'll surrender to Krishna. And in this way, the hearing process, it doesn't fully take place, which is why sadhus, they're supposed to speak in such a manner that cuts through the ahankar. It's a very thick layer in which if you just try and touch it, then it's like a morass or like a sticky mess. If you just try to touch it, you might get stuck in there. So if you just try to touch that ahankar, then for instance by praying, oh, you are all very nice. Then everyone says, oh, very nice. He said we're very nice. Oh, how nice. He's so nice. And then the sadhu also becomes, oh, they like me. And then the people saying, oh, he likes us. We like him. And it becomes just like the materialists. I like you, you like me, but there's nothing substantial. There's no actual exchange of spiritual knowledge. That's what I say in Bengal, the Sahajis, they think Guru, someone comes around and you worship him and he smiles at you and blesses you, and then he goes on to the next village and life goes on. And there's no actual spiritual knowledge or spiritual exchange. So a sadhu should speak in such a way to cut through that, which cutting job means it won't be popular. Cutting is painful. So such words are required, as Krishna uses in Bhagavad Gita. Murha, vimurha, vimurhatma, or as Srila Prabhupada put it in English, rascal, fool, nonsense, animals, cats and dogs. And you'll all laugh. That is your way to not get cut. That is your little nervous laughter there, because you're afraid I'm going to get cut here. So the laughter just, the knife gets absorbed and then it doesn't get through. If we laugh, then okay, then that means we're laughing at all the rascals and fools and nonsense and animals and cats and dogs, but it's not me, that's someone else. In this way we deflect it. Or we make up some rascal philosophy that sadhu shouldn't speak like this. Another rascaldom. Real sadhu is someone who's just nice. This is like the person who goes to the doctor with a boil, and the mother brings the son and he says, I want a doctor who just gives me sweets. The sweets are causing the boil. That will make it worse. The real doctor will cut with a knife. But I don't like this doctor. But that's the only doctor who's going to cure you. But we don't like. So we remain in the world of ahankar, thinking everything is nice. Everything. I chant Hare Krishna, my Guru blesses me, and we're all very happy. And we don't have to follow anything because the Guru blessed me. So what do you have to follow all these rules for? No eating kami food, and no watching all these nonsense things on TV, and being very serious about Krishna consciousness, rising early, attentively chanting around. Well, I don't need that, because I'm chanting, I say Hare Krishna, and Guru blesses me. See, every time my Guru comes, I feed him idli and samba, and he likes it, and he smiles at me, and we're all very happy. But nothing happens. So these, as I said, these are perennial misconceptions which are liable to creep into our Krishna consciousness movement. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur spent his whole life fighting against this. Prabhupada didn't in his preaching in the West, because people didn't know about Krishna consciousness, so they didn't yet have time to reinterpret it. That's going on, that will come later. Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita, he speaks at the beginning of creation to Brahma. He doesn't speak Garv se kaho hum Hindu hai. He doesn't say that. You all know what that means? Everyone in Bangalore knows Hindi. You've all heard that, right? Mera Bharat Mahan. He doesn't say that either. Krishna speaks the absolute truth to Brahma, and through the different sampradayas he disseminates knowledge. He gives the knowledge of the Vedas. Vedaischa sarva aham eva vedaha. Through all the Vedas, Krishna is to be known. But various people misinterpret it in various ways because they don't want to surrender to Krishna, but they want to have the feeling of being very religious and very good. And that's how you get Hinduism. Well, in Kali Yuga you get Hinduism. Hinduism is an extreme version of pretending to be following something resembling the Vedas, but not doing it, actually. So that goes on in the material world. Krishna comes personally, dharma samsthapanarthaya, to re-establish dharma. Why does he do that? Because people take his message again and again and again. They take his message and misinterpret it and try to fit it to their misconceptions so that they can go on in the material world. That's a car backing up, I guess. Everything, some stupid noise. We live in the land of stupid noises. When you go to the spiritual world, there's no stupid noises, only good noises. But in the material world, everyone, they want to adjust Krishna's message to what they think it should be. Krishna said this, and it actually means this. They'll readjust it. So in the same way, that goes on. Every great religious teacher comes. Jesus comes, and within a short time they converted him into a meat eater and a drunkard, so they could be meat eaters and drunkards, although he wasn't a meat eater or a drunkard. In Christianity, generally meat eating and taking alcohol is accepted. Actually, in the Catholic Church, in which I was raised in this lifetime, is not only allowed, but it's part of the religious ritual. That you drinking wine. They have special cheap wine for the priests to drink during the Mass. It's a necessary part. You have to drink the wine and eat the body of Jesus. It's cannibalistic idea. Strange religion. Anyway, so like that. That's another example how they reinterpret and misinterpret and make it something that they want it to be, and completely go away from what is actually being spoken. So that tendency is there also. Srila Prabhupada spoke very clearly, very plainly, very strongly, but the tendency may be there, or is there, to think that, well, yeah, we like Prabhupada, we like everything he said, but some things they're a bit difficult, so we shouldn't speak them to newcomers, and then we shouldn't speak them to middlecomers, and we shouldn't speak them to oldcomers. and then we shouldn't speak them at all. And then Prabhupada could say that because he was pure, but no one else should say that. I don't find that Prabhupada ever said that. Prabhupada said we should speak what is in Bhagavad Gita, as he did. Bhagavad Gita is the truth. We may or may not have realized it fully. No one can realize it fully because Krishna is unlimited. But Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna for his benefit, because what Krishna speaks is the fact and it's truth. What is in Srimad Bhagavatam is truth, so that it should be spoken. If it's not spoken, on whatever plea it is not spoken, then people fail to get the truth. Or they get a distortion of the truth, just like the idea, you just chant Hare Krishna. That's true. In Kali Yuga you just chant Hare Krishna. But how we have to chant? With what understanding, with what surrender we have to chant? This idea, well, you just become pure. But what does pure mean? Pure means to understand our position as servants of Krishna. Pure, Srila Prabhupada, just like this idea, you have to have a super Maha Bhagavat, Premi 1008 Rasik, Paramahamsa, and only such a person can be a guru. But Srila Prabhupada made it very practical, that purity means you follow the four regulated principles. You chant Hare Krishna, you spend all your life, all your time serving Krishna. It's very practical, verifiable. So, there's Sahajiyas, they just make purity into a fast. Then it becomes a show, because you can't tell anyway who's super premi Maha Bhagavat, and generally those who make a show of it, they're not anyway. They're just making a show. But superficial people want a show. And if someone says, follow the four regular principles, oh, you're not on a very high level. What's this? We'll talk about Prem Ras and we don't have time to cook for Krishna because we're too busy thinking about Prem Ras while we're watching the television. And so we'll just get some food, we'll buy some food, vegetarian, I think it's vegetarian, we'll offer it to Krishna, and that's our prasadam. So I'm hearing these things, that we're hearing that initiated devotees on a regular basis, they go to some kami hotel and then they buy the food. We offered it to Krishna, as if Krishna has to accept this because you offered it. But no, Krishna says, Patrang Pushpang Palang Toyam. You all know the verse, right? Isn't it? Patrang Pushpang Palang Toyam. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Bhakti doesn't mean that you walk into a hotel and give them some money. That's not bhakti, that's business. They're the people that are not cooking for bhakti, for Krishna. For them it's a business. So surrender to Krishna is not for lazy people. Commitment is required. The same commitment that Arjuna had, that Krishna demanded of Arjuna. If you want to be my devotee, you have to do what I say. You have to fight. Arjuna didn't want to do it. It's a very heavy commitment, but that is required. That level of commitment is required for everyone. Krishna may not ask us something as difficult as he asked Arjuna to fight with all those who are most dear to him. But Krishna does require that we transfer our attachment from this. That's the point. Arjuna had material attachments, superficially at least. That we transfer our attachment from matter to spirit. And for that, the rules and regulations given by the acharyas are there. So we at least have to hear this. And then we can start to act on it. Because if we don't hear it, we won't act on it. And if we don't hear this regularly, then we'll think that, it's not very important because it's only occasionally someone speaks like this, so it can't be very important. But in the beginning of spiritual life, this is most important. And if it doesn't, in the beginning it's important because that sets the foundation. We say, newcomers, we shouldn't be too heavy with them. That's true. We have to gradually bring them in, but we have to bring them in. And in means to the standard given by Shastra, Guru Sadhu Shastra. There's no shortcuts. The shortcut is chanting Hare Krishna, but then we have to do that chant in purity. So this is required. We may think, well, better I hear from someone who doesn't emphasize all these things, and better to get a guru who doesn't say all these things, and you get the guru's mercy. It's better to get the guru's mercy, one who doesn't demand so many things, because you get the guru's mercy, and if guru is pleased, then Krishna is pleased. So if I can find a guru who doesn't ask me to do much, and if I can please him, then Krishna will be pleased. But that's a kind of cheating process, to think like that. Rather, guru means Shastra Upadeshta, who teaches what is in Shastra and how to apply that in our lives. It's not just an official post inherited by birth or by the rubber stamp of a committee. In fact, no one we say, oh, someone became a guru, the GBC authorized it. No one becomes a guru by GBC authorization. Officially that might be there, but if one is guru, then he's a guru. Right? And the authorization is there as a ratification or a formal acceptance of that. But a guru means one who teaches. Srila Prabhupada sometimes quoted this achinoti yashastrani, that he achinoti means he's fully collect. It literally means this collection, means taken, as we have in the Bhagavatam also, that Brahmanishtam, one who's fixed in the absolute truth. Tadvigyanatam sagarum eva abhigachet. What is that? Shrotriya, sorry, I was missing. The one who's heard, means one who's heard. One who's heard. So, achinoti yashastrani, one who's heard. Gives the idea that much hearing is heard so much. Achinoti yashastrani achare sthapyatyapi. By his behavior, acts according to Shastra and teaches in that way. Swayam achare yasmad, and who by his own behavior, he teaches others also to follow that. Such a person is known as an acharya. Acharyas tena kirtita. Such a person is known as an acharya. So no one becomes a guru. It's not that you get appointed to a post, but rather one who has that, one who's doing that. Or as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it clear, or simplified the understanding. Yeah, two important, Srila Prabhupada often quoted these. Jo Krishna Tattva Veta Shri Guru Hoy. One who knows the science of Krishna is a guru. And Jare Deka Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh. Amar Agyai Guru Hoya Taro Edesh. So Krishna's instructions, one who teaches them to others, who preaches them to others, to whoever, to all he meets. In this way, on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order, becomes a guru. So Srila Prabhupada often warned about this. Don't go for it, something cheap. If you look for something cheap, you'll get something cheap. You may have the most highly realized Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat guru, but you don't have him as a guru. If one doesn't hear, if one doesn't open the ears to hear and accept those instructions and act on those instructions, one has the ahankar of thinking I have a guru. But you don't have a guru unless one becomes a disciple. So people often are asking that, well, should I get this guru or that guru? First of all, be prepared to be a disciple. Then the question comes of having a guru. But then if you're looking for the one smiles the nicest, or sings, or looks the nicest. I failed that one, right? Everyone wanted to look at me. I already failed on that one. And not a pin-up boy. But if we're prepared to hear and follow, then we can actually have a guru. Otherwise, we're in danger of becoming like the Sahajiya Sampradaya. You chant and do whatever you like, and you have a guru, and that's it. Then you get Krishna's mercy. And who's Krishna? Well, I don't know, show something on TV, so sometimes. No, of course, I'm exaggerating. I'm not saying that this is the standard, but it could be. It can be, because the tendency, and especially in the modern age, especially in Kali Yuga, is to degrade. Unless we hear and understand what is a guru, we come with misconceptions of what a guru. What is a guru? Guru means this. What's that? Shri. There's some Shri nonsense rascal from Bangalore. People think calls himself Shri so they don't get mixed up with the musician. And then there's another one not far from Bangalore, the wheelchair Bhagavan. This is what people think a guru is. So one should learn. Please read this Prabhupada Lilamrita. You'll learn what is a guru, and by the behavior and teachings of Srila Prabhupada, you'll learn from that. And in a more analytical way, or more philosophical outlook, you can see in that Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav that we'll see what is an acharya. It's not such an easy thing. So this was the subject. Misconceptions about Harinama. Very easy-going. No. This is a term Srila Prabhupada often used. Easy-going. Krishna consciousness is not easy-going. It's not for ease lovers. So of course if we say this, then people may turn around and go out, and we're afraid. Don't say that. No one will join. Yeah, that's true, probably. There'll always be more people going to Shirdi than going to this ISKCON temples. Probably, unless we really jack up our preaching a lot. Shirdi's become so popular. It was already popular, but then there was a TV serial. And now there's Sai Katha and nonsense. I mean, it's just so nonsensical. It's just completely ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. You have to think up some other word. But some people will come. If we try to water everything down and just make it nice and smile, then maybe more people will come. But then people who actually want spiritual life, who want to surrender to Krishna, have seen that who have some at least preliminary understanding that this material world, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is like a hole into which people pass stool. When they've realized that beyond this material existence there must be something of value, where can I find that? Then such persons who can actually become jewels to offer to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they may be interested to come. But if we're trying to imitate the Shris and the wheelchair Bhagawans, we'll do a pretty bad job. I mean, they're well practiced, they've got their act together. We probably can't do such a job. So why don't we just be who we're supposed to be, which is followers of Srila Prabhupada, followers of the Acharya Parampara. Be like that. Of course, not by imitation, but by following faithfully in the footsteps, repeating Bhagavad Gita as it is. People may like or not like, but if we speak Bhagavad Gita as it is, then we will get people who want to be like Arjuna. People who are serious to understand what is the actual reality. We'll get real devotees. Otherwise, we're in danger of becoming, again, another edition of the Sahajiyas. Make everything weak, water it down, put more and more water in until there's nothing left but water, with just maybe an appearance of milk. So, Hare Krishna, that's what I wanted to say tonight. Now I've said it, and if there are any questions, comments, I guess. You want to give some comment? And anything else? You may write it down, or we have an extension mic? Oh, not an extension. It's a written question. Okay. Written question. You said Brahmanda Brahmite Shlok. Can you explain the meaning? Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. In the course of wandering in the universe, which means in different species of life, one jiva, Eta Brahmanda Bhari Ananta Jiva Gan Chaurashi Laka Jonite Kare Brahman. Prior to this Brahmanda Brahmite verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that this universe is filled with unlimited jivas who are wandering throughout the universe in 84 lakh species. Then among them, one who is fortunate by the mercy of Guru and Krishna gets the seed of the Bhakti Lata. Actually, this is a whole nother lecture. It's a big topic. One who is fortunate, that means Srila Prabhupada often explained that the beginning of one's spiritual life is disgust with this material world. So if we're disgusted with this material world and we hear, at that point Krishna directs us to someone we can hear from, who can direct us to come out of this material world. So one's real fortune begins when one is disgusted with this material world by association with devotees who themselves are convinced that this material world is not our home. They may, by their forceful presentation of this, convince people who were not even thinking that this material world is miserable. That was Srila Prabhupada's attempt in traveling and preaching all over the world. Interestingly, we don't find when Srila Prabhupada was speaking with people and lecturing, he mostly didn't ask people just to chant Hare Krishna. And it wasn't the first thing when people came to Prabhupada that he told them, you start chanting. He would first of all establish various points, usually the point that we are not the body, the difference between the soul and the body. He would speak Bhagavad Gita philosophy. And then when people were somewhat convinced of this, then Srila Prabhupada would ask them to chant Hare Krishna. So he tried, his attempt was, I'm saying attempt not to say that Prabhupada is unsuccessful, but it is a fact that most people who heard Srila Prabhupada didn't hear. They weren't actually ready to hear, but Srila Prabhupada was attempting to cut through their layers of ahankar to convince them of the need to hear that material life is miserable. Everything in this material world is, and especially in the modern civilization, all the wrong ideas, Srila Prabhupada was combating them. He wasn't like these Mayavadis, just all love, peace, smile, and not like that at all. Just using, you see, the Mayavadis, they just use words without being very specific. Love, we should love everyone. Peace. Compassion. Just but not very vaguely, without specifically defining them. Whereas a real sadhu gives spiritual knowledge, not just some nice sounding words which everyone thinks, oh nice, love, compassion, peace, goodwill, but no idea of what it means. And no desire to know what it means, just a vague feeling. Srila Prabhupada's compassion was that he wrote his books, that he himself defined the chief facet or the chief factor in his compassion, or his chief contribution to the world was his books, in which he very clearly explained, following Krishna himself, that those who are not Krishna conscious are in a very bad situation. They're comparable, Shvavidvarahoshtra Karai, they're comparable to dogs, hogs, camels and asses. This was Srila Prabhupada's compassion. Out of his compassion, he engaged his disciples in distributing those books among the people. In distributing those books in which people open the book, they read it and say, people who are not Krishna conscious are simply animals. That was Srila Prabhupada's compassion in distributing these books. So we should have compassion. And have compassion on ourselves too by reading these books. Charity begins at home. If you're going to speak, please speak in the mic. You're sitting next to me, I can hear you, but those at the back can't. Give this piece of paper. Well, I'm going to read this paper for Hare Krishna Maharaj. Most of the times we were stuck up in anatta nivritti stage. How to overcome the anatta nivritti stage. Don't be a rascal. Why are we attached to our anarthas? Why are we attached to Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Madadi? Why are we attached? We have to hear like this. We have to hear these things. Gaur Govinda Maharaj, our god brother, who passed away some 10 years ago or so. He's well known as speaking on topics of Krishna Prem, but at least as much, he spoke very strongly about overcoming anarthas. Somehow or other people, they know him for his speaking on topics of Vrindavan, but somehow or other they don't know how he spoke so strongly about giving up material desires and material attachment. Somehow or other that's in people's minds has been edited out or forgotten. That's the qualification to enter there. Interesting, huh? That's not so well known. How do we overcome anarthas? Well, first of all, we have to have the desire to do so. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Korayayodoi. By hearing. The process of bhakti in itself is purifying. How many times have you heard this question? How are we going to overcome anarthas? We have to apply ourselves to the process. As much as we apply ourselves, that much we will get the result. Patience is required also. Yeah. The second Namaparad in Paparana, one should not see a difference between Shiva and Vishnu, but we have a different conception. Well, what is it? Please clarify, but I don't know what your different conception is, so how can I clarify? I'm not omniscient. I don't know what your misconception is. And if you know it's a misconception, then you already know. So what is there? Then what is there for me to say? Please, if you formulate questions, please formulate them clearly. Please don't think that I can understand what you're thinking if you don't clearly express it. Don't think, he doesn't understand me. Yeah, it's true, I don't understand. My guru doesn't understand me. I don't understand. You have to speak in clear language. Then I can understand. Yeah.
You said about the listener has an ahankar and the sadhu has to speak so that he cuts through the ahankar. So what should the listener himself has to do to overcome this ahankar?
Well, that's what I was saying. We have to be like a blank slate. We have to be prepared to hear, which, as I was saying at the beginning, it may be more difficult in a place like Bangalore where many different devotees with many different outlooks on Krishna consciousness are coming, so you may think, well, that's his take, and then someone else will come with a different take, and then it becomes a buffet. You take a little bit from here, a little bit from there. So one can actually hear. I already stated this actually. If you've been listening, if you were hearing, that's the problem. That we have to hear with faith. But of course, real faith doesn't develop in one day. It may do with some people. Like Srila Prabhupada said that, well, the first time he met his spiritual master, I knew he was my guru. But that was by hearing. Often people say, as I was saying, my guru, well, I like the way he smiles, or walks, or dresses, or wobbles, or whatever. But it should be by hearing, and Shastra states that we should hear for 1 year before committing ourselves. So in the beginning there may not be full faith. Don't give your full faith immediately. Our intelligence has to be, it's not that by full faith our intelligence is suspended. So intelligence has to be there. But a willingness to hear, a willingness to, at least a preliminary willingness to accept that I am in a position here that I need to hear. There has to be a preliminary openness to hear. And as I was also saying, that the preconceptions that we have of a sadhu, that can be removed by seeing who is a real sadhu. If we accept Srila Prabhupada as a real sadhu, then we should see how he conducted himself, how he spoke. We often hear, it's nice now that there are so many memories of Prabhupada, and devotees tell about this story, this incident and that incident. But Srila Prabhupada wasn't going around all the time and just making anecdotes for people to recall 30 years later, but most of the time he was speaking the philosophy of Krishna consciousness from Bhagavad Gita. So I mentioned about the Prabhupada Lilamrita. You can also read maybe more valuable in one way is to read the Transcendental Diary by Hari Shai Prabhu, who gave day by day pictures of Srila Prabhupada, including what Prabhupada said in the class, gave lengthy extracts from the classes that Srila Prabhupada gave. I mentioned this to a devotee recently. He said, well, you can read them all in the folio anyway. But within the Transcendental Diary, that's in the context of, it gives the context of what Srila Prabhupada was doing, how he was speaking, and the very fact that Srila Prabhupada most of the time, he was speaking the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. He'd give class morning and evening, dictate his books in the evening, throughout the day, meet people, preach to them, speak to them. So he was always speaking and it was mostly on this Bhagavad Gita as it is, same philosophy. So we can learn. If we have faith that Srila Prabhupada is an actual guru, then we can learn by his behavior, study how he acted, and we can understand that what is an actual guru is in many ways very simple. In Srila Prabhupada there was no razzmatazz or gimmicks or show, just very straightforwardly. But that in itself was superlatively transcendental, because that's the real thing. Srila Prabhupada presented Krishna. Krishna is wonderful. Srila Prabhupada didn't present himself. I am wonderful. He presented, here is Krishna. Krishna is wonderful. That's why Srila Prabhupada was so wonderful, because he presented Krishna. Any attempt to be wonderful without presenting Krishna is simply rascaldom. Trying to steal away from Krishna. Krishna bestows on his devotees all transcendental qualities. So devotees of Krishna, they become, or they are, superhuman or very special people. But that is a gift from Krishna, because the devotee is only wishing to glorify Krishna, then the Krishna imbues that person with, or by that very fact of simply wanting to serve Krishna, the devotee automatically becomes blessed with all transcendental qualities. It's a natural result of being a surrendered devotee of Krishna. But if someone wants to imitate that or try to show some wonderful qualities without actually surrendering to Krishna, then it will be hollow. It's not the real thing. So Srila Prabhupada you can see also from Transcendental Diary how Srila Prabhupada is very natural in his way of acting. It wasn't like he was trying to I have to smile like this and then people will think I'm a sadhu. No such thing. I have to speak in such a way that everyone will think I'm a great sadhu. Several times we find that. I was just reading in Australia one time, and there's actually several instances like this where the TV was live TV and Prabhupada was just getting on the case of his disciples like anything, on and on and on, and not letting up, and it's all live on TV. But Prabhupada wasn't affected, thinking I have to act for the TV. Nowadays, if you did that, they'd say you blew it. Bad publicity. So you don't know how to behave. Prabhupada wouldn't be pleased that he himself didn't care very much for that. For putting on an act of... People have an idea of what a sadhu should be, and people like this, I was saying like this Shri, they do the show, and people, oh, very good, okay, he's doing the show, he's a real sadhu, that's the kind of sadhu we like, and thousands of people go to him, they all get cheated. So, that's the kind of, he's seen, this is what they want, okay, I'll do it. And they want it, and they come, he gets lots of money, name, fame, goes to hell, they all go to hell, and that's what they want. And Prabhupada comes to save us from hell, and he's not making any show. He's just come to serve Krishna. So if what you see, first of all, see what you want. What do you want? Then you go. That's Prabhupada. He asked Giriraj Maharaj when he first came to see Srila Prabhupada in Boston in 1967, I think it was. Srila Prabhupada, he asked, I can't remember exactly the question that Giriraj asked. Of course he was not initiated or a disciple at that time. Something about how can we understand God? And Srila Prabhupada answered with another question. He said, do you want to be one with God, or do you want to serve God? He put him on the spot. You're asking this question, but what do you actually want? And by that one question, Giriraj Maharaj described that his whole misconception of God, that actually I was thinking I'll become God, that was completely blown away. And immediately, just with that one line, he got the gist of understanding what spiritual life is all about, to become the servant of God.